welcome to the Spoiler Kings. My name is Tank Kramer. I'm with Will, Peppa MD.
Yo,
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
How did you enjoy the last good weekend in Chicago? The last good weather weekend in Chicago.
Oh, I know. It's finally a time where I can wear sweaters, and I'm now getting that taken away. I know. It's getting cold all of a sudden. We go through 4 seasons in a day. It's nuts.
Yeah, that's how it is. Yeah, it's that time of year in November. But yeah, man, it was a pretty good weekend. A really good weekend for movies. So if you're watching live, we got a double feature for you guys. We're gonna do Eternals and The Harder They Fall. So you want to get right into it and get into this extra double dose of movie review?
For shizzle. So first we're talking Eternals, and then after we're done with Eternals, stay tuned, and then we're going to talk about The Harder They Fall. Both movies, we're going to give our rating system towards the end. So again, stay tuned to the end of the video.
Yeah. And if you're watching on replay, it's going to be a separate video. So you go check them out. But first, let's get this the Eternals, the new MCU movie that just came out this weekend. Give that a
Alrighty. Go. As we watch the trailer live here, I'm going to give you a little insight about what the movie's about. So in 5000 BC, a group of 10 individuals descend upon Earth to protect humanity from the Deviants. Deviants are the bad guys. They are the Eternals, who have been sent from their home planet of Olympia on the Domo by the Prime Celestial, Arisham the Judge. Throughout the centuries, the Eternals continue to relocate to the other growing civilizations and defend them from the Deviants. My heroes, huh? Although they are barred by Arisham from interfering with human conflicts to allow them to evolve naturally. And we'll see this a few times, right? So they even touch on Iron Man and the whole Civil War and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. They kind of like see that outside looking in. They have that perspective, but they can't do a damn thing. Again, so that evolution happens naturally and there's no one to kind of mess with that equation. Two Eternals, Cersei and Icarus, who this movie really follows, would develop a close relationship. These are two of the Eternals, by the way. They develop a close relationship over the centuries and eventually becoming a married couple. Ooh, I don't know, man, but when you mix pleasure with work and with, family life, whew, it's only going to be problematic. That's all I know. So I think, was that it? Yeah, the Marvel Studios is the one that's behind this. Of course, the Marvel movie. They featured the Eternals, who are pretty much a new superhero team. Even though they are like prior to the superheroes that we know now in Marvel, they kind of set up for what's going to happen next.
Yeah. They kind of go in the past and show what's gonna happen into the future, so they kind of give you everything.
They jump around a little bit for sure.
Yeah, bring this down.
Explosions.
But yeah, one of the big thing was the movie opened up like really big, font, in the beginning. It's like this is like the origin story of Earth, according to the MCU, which is pretty cool. But we're gonna do this Eternals one's a little different than we usually do because we usually do spoilers and everything. So I figure we'll do no spoilers, and then we'll start getting into our spoilers, and then we'll do our reviews. Just because I know a lot of people might want to watch it, and I don't want to ruin that much of it. So we'll try to keep it general. Won't give too many details away right now. But yeah, real quick, for me, it follows the comic book pretty good. So if you ever read the newer revamped version of the Eternals, pretty close to the comic book, so not too bad. I was actually pretty surprised that they kept it that close.
Now, when you say that, you're talking storyline as well as the way they look too, the way they were captured visually. Is that what you mean?
Visually, it's not too bad. They like Icarus. He has those the big 3 circles kind of thing. that's kind of how the comic book is too. The comic book is a little crazy, but it's not too bad. I mean, it visually it's a little bit more different, but storyline wise, plot wise, they kept it pretty close to the new revamped origin story, which either good or bad. I don't know. You can make up your mind with that one, but we're just gonna be talking about just the movie and not really go back to the comic books. Because I don't think you ever read the comic book version of it.
Not for Eternals, not this one.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. But what are some of the good things that you liked about this one?
So, real quick, number one for anything was for this being a superhero movie, right? Or a superhero kind of story. I love the fact that the Eternals cast is so diversified, one,
Yes.
and two, representation was so key in bringing these characters to life because, again, I'm not gonna spoil too much here, but we have like some female leads for actresses, and then we have some people of color, taking the spotlight. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So that's one thing that I really was happy to see. Seeing Salma Hayek so high on the chain of hierarchy in this film was dope.
Yeah.
Like she's getting a little bit older. She still looks fine, right? She's still doing her thing. And so I'm just happy that, we have Latinas and people of Hispanic origins, making it big, that's important to me. But that's some of the cool things. The powers were also pretty cool.
Well, real quick,
CGI.
before you move on from that,
Go ahead.
one thing my girlfriend showed me about it was Selma Hayek was in an interview right here, and she was asked like about her character and stuff like that. And she wound up kind of breaking down. So if you see this, like she, this is kind of whatever. But then she started to kind of like really choke up. The interviewer started like even like crying a little bit, and you see her there. And that was the thing where she goes, she said that this moment was so important because she goes, I've been at Marvel for 16 years trying, and I was told her for the first time I met her that she had no idea how long I waited for this moment. And I think that was like them talking, but yeah, she was just like looking in the mirror, something along those lines. She like looked in the mirror and saw a Latina like in a superhero suit in Marvel. It's like,
wow.
She thought about her kids, what it meant for her kids, what it meant for other like little girls. Also like any kind of Hispanic culture. It's just like. I mean, she's done a lot for the Latino culture movie wise, it's like, so and this was no exception, what here, but yeah, she got choked up in this interview, which says how much this really meant for her,
Yeah.
So yeah, and shout out to my girlfriend who showed me this because I didn't know, but obviously it's all in Spanish, it's with whatever channel that is
Wake Up America, but in Spanish.
Yeah.
Or Good Morning America, pretty much.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, so that's pretty cool, man. She was when you're able to connect with the character that you're playing on screen, I think you have a lot more feel, and that was definitely one thing that came across in this was she was really good in this role. The quote unquote leader.
Yeah, right.
So, but yeah, man. Sorry, man. I just wanted to kind of hit on that a little bit more. What were some of the other things?
No, I'm glad you touched on that. Some of the other things, I like some of their powers. I liked how they just, Marvel never ceases to amaze me when it comes to their creativity and their stories that relate to, you as the viewer or as the reader. So, that relatability, something that was real cool. And the story, the plot was really, really, really fun to watch. And even though this movie was like 2.5 hours or 2 hours and 18 minutes long,
like 2.5 hours.
Yeah. I wasn't mad at it. I wasn't mad at it being that long. I really liked that it was just so much content, and I want to say they could have even gone longer, but um, yeah, that's what I liked. What about you? What was really big that stuck out to you that tickled your
um,
feathers?
I mean, I enjoyed the whole story as a whole.
Mm.
I mean, without getting into the like the ratings and stuff like that, there were like a lot of people didn't like this because it didn't feel like a Marvel movie. And for me, that's part of the reason why I liked it. It was just like it was very different. At one point, I forgot I was watching a Marvel film, because it wasn't a normal cut and paste. It was like, oh, here's the good guy. Here is a dark version of the good guy, and they fight. And it was like, okay, we've seen that for like since Iron Man 1. This was
Yeah.
very different. This one was very had kind of like moral, like morality, ethical questions. Like, what do you do with something like that? Um,
Hmm.
so it was a lot of that stuff. Like a lot of somebody said this is like a love story. I'm like, I didn't consider it a love story. I considered more of like a
Mm.
family problem story, because they are, granted, they're all different, like skin colors and stuff like that. They are a family. They even say it a bunch of times in the movie is like, oh, family reunion and this and that and family, and that's what I thought it more was a family kind of problem. It was like, so I mean, granted, there was a love story in it. A few like little like he loves her, he loves him, and blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
I think the overall story for me was like, hey, everyone's family's a little messed up. It's just their families are a little bit more powerful than everyone else's. So for me, that's what I like a lot. But I get why a lot of people didn't like this film because it was very, very, very different.
Mm.
For me personally, I that's one of the reasons why I did enjoy it was it just wasn't a normal cut and paste Marvel movie. You know,
That's
it made
fair.
it made you like sit and think a lot more. Like, like, oh, is that right to do? Should they do that? Would I do that? Is that a good thing? Kind of, so there's that whole part of it too. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that. And then the action, when the action was going on, it was going on. And then when they went into the important parts of the lore and the film, they crammed that stuff in there, man. Like, all right, here's 10 minutes of very, very important stuff that's gonna change the fabric of the MCU kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and then it's everything else. But like that stuff, like I always find entertaining where like this movie definitely setting up a bigger picture in the MCU. So I can't wait for something like that to really, really start to develop. I mean, we're starting to get multiverses, so you're starting to get a bunch of different universes, and then this one is like, hey, we're not done with this universe. This one is still getting bigger. So, it's kind of like double kind of thing, it's like this is getting bigger and there's an infinite amount of them. So
Mm.
I thought that was pretty cool. That is just expanding the whole universe. It lore wise and like physical wise, like it's getting outside of Earth. Like Earth isn't just the only problem planet. You know, so
Yeah.
but yeah,
We're now seeming even smaller than what we thought we were. We're not alone. Definitely not
yeah,
alone. We're
yeah,
like ants compared to what's out there. That's bottom
yeah,
line.
yeah. And that was like one thing. The visual effects I thought was amazing. So, what was his name? Ash is I can't. You said his name. I heard it a million times. They say his name a bunch of times.
You
And
talking
I
about?
the big red
Mm,
dude that's behind me.
oh,
Um,
snap!
the Celestials like with A. I'm so bad with his name.
It's a really crazy name. I can't say
Yeah,
it.
yeah. But he's the Celestial dude, which they showed in the trailer. They showed in the trailer we just watched. So no big surprise. But there's a
Yeah,
real cool scene. It's not a spoiler where Ajax goes and like kind of talks to him, and
yeah,
she is literally a dot to him. Like they show her and then it's just like a red wall, and then they zoom out and it's just like she's like a little teeny dot, and this guy's is huge. It's just massive, bigger than planets, and it was just super super cool. Like getting like because now you're starting to get like size wise, because like no head, nowhere, in Guardians, the floating head that was the
Yeah.
head of a Celestial, that they
Oh,
mine out of. So it's like, oh, his head is as big as a planet that people live in and farm from and
wow.
mine. So it's like that's just his head, you know. So yeah, so just getting that ratio was like, oh, here's Selma Hayek, here's this giant red, being. So that was super cool.
Arisham. I think
Arisham.
I was saying it earlier, and like I've been having issues saying it with the synopsis. I think I said it okay. Arisham. I keep looking for like pronunciations. Arisham, the judge.
The judge. Yeah. But yeah. So but what about some bad things, man?
Okay.
So still no spoilers yet.
Okay. No spoilers. I don't think this is a spoiler. This is not something that ruins the progression of the story. One thing that just like rubbed me the wrong way, right? So I know we're talking about a Marvel movie. It was okay if I talk about the DC thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So there's it's not a spoiler. So I just wasn't sure. One thing that kind of just rubbed me the wrong way, and it just like I don't know if it was necessary for the movie.
Hey,
I just thought it was. Hey, what's up, Omar? One thing that kind of that irked me, and you could take it out, and you still have the same movie. So I don't know why they threw it in. Maybe they're trying to, I don't know, spark some kind of drama or something. But they name dropped some DC characters and the DC universe almost, but like. I don't know if they were like making them seem like, oh, we're only referencing them as a comic, or if they were like, oh, we're referencing them as another universe that is happening at the same time as us, which is Marvel, for this movie. And so that was like, what? Like they mentioned the character. They mentioned the character. What is his name?
Icarus.
Was it Icarus? Yeah, Icarus. Icarus. Some of his powers, right? Kind of a spoiler, but some of his power. Oh no, you see it in the damn.
It's in the trailer.
In the trailer, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Oli.
Is he can fly, right? Shoots lasers out of his eyes, and hovers.
Got super strength.
Super strength. And who does that sound like to you? Huh? Who does that sound like to you? Look at all these powers that were created by like a 5-year-old. Superman. Yeah. So they name drop Superman. They're like, "Oh, you look like Superman." He's like, "I don't have the cape."
Yeah, which was funny.
It was a funny line. Yeah, like true. And then I think you're the one that reminded me that that they name dropped Alfred and Batman, right?
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, you're like Alfred and Batman." Thank you. Those
are really big. Thank you, Omar. Those are really big name drops for a movie like. That's a Marvel movie, bruh. Like you could have taken it out and you would have had the same movie. So that's what kind of bothers me. What about you?
Yeah, they definitely did it on purpose, and and I think that's why she did it, because I didn't notice it until my girlfriend told me. She goes, did they just mention Batman and Alfred like in a Marvel film? And I'm like, oh yeah. And then obviously in the trailer, in the trailer, the little boy tells Icarus like, oh, you're like Superman, like what you said. So I'm like, oh yeah, that's twice. They bring up like those are two legendary. Those are like the two biggest superheroes you can think of in any comic book kind of thing is Batman and Superman. And I was like, that's really interesting. And they asked Chloe Zhao, which is the director, like, why did she do that? And she was like, she wanted to have this universe be. I'm trying to look for like the exact quote. But it was basically like she wanted a reference to play in like the the gags as well, but also it's like heroes were part of like just that world. You know what I mean? Like, the comics and heroes and stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, it just like that's why I didn't even notice it, because I'm a comic book fan and you say Batman and I get the reference. But now you throw it in a Marvel film and you're like, hold on, and I'm like, that's definitely crossing, the streams. So, but I thought it was really cool from her where she was just like, yeah, it's like the normal, like we want to be in the normal world, but we're in the Marvel normal world. So why wouldn't there be comic books? You know what I mean? So it really makes sense,
Yeah.
you know, because they're so easily like you can reference Batman and you can reference Superman, and people would understand what you're referencing. You know what I mean?
So with that being said, let me just ask you real quick: does that imply that the Eternals storyline and universe part of the comics over or like Umbrella's even DC too? Are they trying to be King comic book? That's what that makes
I
me
don't
think.
know. Yeah.
If they're so nonchalant saying like, yeah, we got the Marvel, Iron Man and Captain America, and then we're just gonna name drop Batman because it's in our movie. Like they're almost, to me, it seems like they're taking ownership, which obviously I know they're not. And this is maybe to try to poke at DC. Maybe DC is gonna throw, a name drop in their next movie, and they're gonna have like start doing diss tracks, and they're gonna have like Chief Keef thrown in the mix. Who knows? But I don't know if they throw Eminem in this universe, bro. It's over with.
Right. I mean, it might be. You never know when they go to Detroit.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, from what she says like she just went with it because it was just a reference that people can easily make. You know, because you're like, oh, that person's like Superman, and boom, you get it. Laser flies. Mr. Perfect, all American kind of thing. Yeah. So yeah, I thought it was really really cool. Real reference. I enjoyed that part of it. Okay. I don't think they're trying to like take over, like move out, we're taking your shit too. I just think it was just like, yeah, why not? It makes sense. It just completely makes sense, you know. But yeah. Because he is a freaking ripoff of Superman, like it's flat out. Like, I mean, yeah, but Marvel does that stuff all the time. Like DC makes a cool character, and Marvel's like, we're gonna make it cooler, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah. I mean, Deadpool is a complete ripoff of Deathstroke.
Yes.
Yes. Like, complete ripoff, but done way cooler. Like, oh, he's a brooding, one-eyed asshole. All right, we're gonna have a loudmouth, can't shut up, funny asshole. With the same exact freaking design. Like,
yeah.
So, but that's what Marvel does, man. They're like, we're gonna take your idea and do our own with it. But I thought that was pretty funny. Any other weird thing that threw you off or you didn't like?
No. If we're not talking spoilers, then nothing else. The movie was pretty. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward, pretty black and white.
Yeah. So for me, the biggest thing, without getting into spoilers, that I didn't like was, I know you said like you would have liked even more of it. They probably, for me, they could have cut it. They could have cut 30 minutes out.
Yeah.
This is definitely not a spoiler. There's the first Marvel sex scene is in this film. I don't know if you can say that. To me, that's not a spoiler. But if you're like, oh damn, I wanted to see that, I was like, okay, it's not really a spoiler. But there's anything. I don't know why they did it. They didn't have to do that. They didn't have to do that. I just didn't get it. It's like they're getting married, which we already said in the synopsis.
Yeah.
We know what comes after that, and we know all that stuff. It was very weird, to watch. Yeah. Not that the sex scenes are weird. It was just like, I was like, it felt like it didn't belong in there, and then all the parts where they're just staring off into like the sky, whether they're in the desert or here or there. I was like, they could have honestly probably chopped 30 minutes off and made this a 2-hour film, like easily made it a 2-hour film. But that's how the director is, man. I usually don't like her movies. The big one, she won the Academy Award for the big one, Nomadland. She was the director for Nomadland, which I thought was a garbage movie. Me and Alfredo did our Oscar movies. And we both were like, this sucks. It's and they won like every freaking award in the Oscar season, which is insane.
That's funny.
But that's what she's known for. She's known for like very cinema, like, oh, look at this great scenery. We're just gonna stand and look at it for a minute. I was like, cool. If the movie is an hour and a half, when it's 2.5 hours, you need to cut that. You need to cut that. Like, show how pretty everything is. In backgrounds when people are talking or something. So. But that was like one of the bigger things. But any other non-spoilery things before we get into some spoilers?
Nah. Well, let me take a look at the cast real quick. Let me see if I can muster up something. Hold on.
Good cast.
Sometimes I'll see
really
I'll look at
cast.
their faces and then I'll see. Where's the cast? I have them right here.
Yeah.
Nope.
Really good cast.
Okay.
They brought back the Game of Thrones brothers, the two Starks, Kit Harington and Richard Madden. They played. They were in it, and on top of that, of all things, I don't know if you watch Game of Thrones or not. One of the evil women in it, one of the like main big bad guys in the show, her name was Cersei.
Oh, no kidding. That's funny. Okay.
Which is funny. So you have two Game of Thrones guys and then a character named Cersei. So that was kind of like a little meta, but yeah, that was kind of funny. But
wow.
But yeah, man. Angelina Jolie, Kit Harington, Richard Madden, Gemma Chan, which I believe Gemma Chan was already in a Marvel movie. I believe she was in Captain Marvel. She played the green or purple chick in Captain Marvel.
Okay.
I believe something like that. She was in Captain Marvel. Or she played a doctor or something. I don't remember. But she was already in a Marvel movie, which is kind of funny. And obviously a bigger role in this one. But Salma Hayek, Don Lee, Kumail Nanjiani was in it. Lauren Ridolph, Brian T. Henry. So
I was happy that they did. It's not a really big spoiler. That they had a little stop in Chicago, just showing off Chicago. I've always liked every time we get mentioned in movies, but that was pretty cool.
It was definitely a burb though. If you're from Chicago, you're like, oh, there's no way. You saw that? That was a suburb. It was a little white picket fence. That was not the city. That was a suburb.
That was Evanston.
Yeah. So you're like, exactly. Like, this is not Chicago. But yeah, I mean, it was close enough. Chicago adjacent. But yeah, it was really good casting. Bill Skarsgård, or was it Bill Skarsgård? Is that what his name is? Yeah. So
Yes.
He was the voice of the main deviant kind of guy. So
that man scares me.
He does when he does his weird little, like, with his lips and does his thing.
Yeah. It's a big nope.
But yeah. You want to get into some spoilers then?
Let's do it. Spoiling time.
Boom. All right. So if you haven't watched the movie and you want to watch it, come back later, for our reviews and stuff like that, because we are getting into all the spoilers and there is a butt ton of spoilers. We probably won't have time to get into everything, but what were some of the big points that you were like, either good or bad, that were like, holy crap, that sucked, or holy crap, that was awesome?
We lost some characters that I liked. I was so pissed.
Shit did we do? Yeah.
We lost. You want to go first? Yeah, you tell me when people that we lost. That we're upset about. You start first.
Well, I mean, the biggest one, which I was really pissed off about, and I think a lot of people were pissed off about, Salma Hayek, Ajax. Seriously, yeah, she freaking died, and then the how she died. You thought it was a deviant that killed her, and then you find out it was one of the one of the family members, that killed her. So which is like, it is like, yeah. So it's like, oh my God. And then they show it. Then they freaking show it. Yeah. They show how she dies. And I'm like, fuck off, Marvel. Like, that one cut. That one hurt. Because I was like, I liked her. She was the leader, but she was like a mother also, and cared for everybody. Yeah. Even when Druig, who can like control minds, He kind of like went off the reservation a little bit, kind of like got a little crazy with everything, and was like, it's like, oh, we should interfere, and she's like, no, and he went off. She's like, let him go. It's like she cared for everybody.
She really carried that like royalty kind of vibe to her, where I was like, ooh, you respect what Mama Salma Hayek says, like you don't want to offend her.
That's seriously. But she was very like forgiving, very loving, very powerful, very a good leader. And then of all people, which is also why I like they use Superman as a reference to Icarus, because Superman is like goody country boy, won't kill people, won't do stuff. Icarus was like, nah, like my job comes first.
Yeah.
And it was very disappointing because I was like, really? Like, but then like it you kind of get it, because that comes in the dilemma of it all. It was like, I think he was doing it because it was his job, but then you find out, well, I don't know if should we just spoil it? Like why the Eternals are actually there. So there's a big old scene. There's a big old scene that Cersei becomes the new leader. The little golden ball thing that Ajax had goes into Cersei, and she can talk to the Eternal. And the Celestial. Was it Ashimal? What was his name?
I kept saying his name.
Keep it up. She goes and talks to Arishima. She goes and talks to him, and he just gives her the fucking like. He goes, "Here's why you're here. You're here because I messed up in the past and I made deviants. You're gonna go kill them. Kill my first creation, and I created you. You didn't come from Olympia. That was just something I made up so you can feel special." So it's like, and then he shows her like where they get mass produced and shit, which I'm like, that's crazy. Yeah. So yeah, it was just like, oh man. I mean, there's the whole Angelina like is dementia, but you find out like she wasn't erased properly, so she has all these weird visions of prior lives that weren't erased. But yeah, so she gets the whole thing, and you find out that the Eternals were sent there to protect humans because humans were the food that the Celestial in the planet were. So there's a Celestial in the middle of the planet, the Earth is an egg basically to a Celestial, and the humans were the energy that would provide. So yeah,
these little battery packs. You know what that kind of reminds me of? The Matrix.
Kind of. There you go.
A little bit, in the sense that with the Matrix, right? Robots taking over Earth, or taking over the universe, if you will, and we're getting like smarter and smarter because of their AI. And so they found out that they don't need the sun exactly for energy to keep on going on, or keep on, working. They found out that if you were to mass produce humans, and not in the traditional way, with intercourse and all that. No, you just mass produce them factory style, which is, I guess there's a way to do that. And that's how, humans were getting birthed and into this like crazy world. And so this movie kind of touched on that idea a little bit, but in their own special way. There was no, copping off, the Matrix's story, none of that. But it's just, they gave me those vibes. I'm like, damn, why are humans always the freaking, the energy source for other beings? Like, where are we the stepping stone?
Yeah, the food. But one thing that they did bring up was the snap. When Ajax was telling Icarus about what was going on, that the emergence was happening, and the emergence was the Celestial emerging from Earth, from the middle of the Earth. So the planet would just basically explode, And but he told him but it's a constant thing. He's like, this planet has to die so there could be a new Celestial born, because I guess Celestials die, and it's like every billion years or something like that. And the Celestials use energy to keep the energy moving. So the same thing is like, you can't create or kill energy, you just kind of
distribute it.
Well, yeah, you just like move it into something else, So I was like, oh, okay. But then it's like, yeah, but you're killing a whole planet. So you're killing like, like about a billion people or whatever, something crazy. And then, yeah. So, and yeah, so that was kind of like crazy for me where I saw that. I was like, oh, that's really interesting where they were able to do that. Like,
yeah,
because it is like sacrifice one planet so hundreds of planets can be created. So that's where the dilemma is. Sacrifice for the greater good, or every life is precious. We saw what happened with Captain America when he didn't want to sacrifice Vision. Like we could have sacrificed Vision and killed Vision, killed one person he was willing to die, kill him so that half of the universe wouldn't have to be snapped. But Captain America believes the opposite of what Icarus believes, where every life is precious, and Icarus is like, no, life keeps going and we have to make sure it keeps going. So it was a very interesting dilemma that they had, and then they were split, which got me, Kumail Nanjiani's character Kingo was like, I agree, Earth should die so many more planets can live, but I'm not going to kill you like he's going to kill you. So, which kind of pissed me off, because then he sat out for the rest of the movie after he's like, peace, I'm out. I don't believe in this fight. So, and then he was just gone. I was like, oh, what? Like, what? I was really pissed. I was like, he's just not there. And I was waiting for him to like show up and save the day, or he's just, that was it. The whole big fight at the end, he wasn't even part of.
No.
So that was really disappointing.
He didn't die, did he? Did he die?
No.
I thought I saw his body dead.
No, because at the end he helps Sprite, because he's a big Bollywood star, so he has a lot of money.
Wait, you talking about
he has
Kingo?
like a private jet. Kingo, which is Kumail Nanjiani.
Never mind. I was talking about somebody else. Never mind. Disregard.
Yeah,
Kingo. Yeah, Bollywood star. That's right. Yeah. Super swole, by the way.
Oh yeah, he got so jacked. Which they make fun of that in Big Mouth season 5. I don't know if you watched that one yet. They made fun of jacked Kumail and it was his voice, so like he was in on the joke, but it was really funny.
That's funny.
But yeah, little shout out to that show. But yeah, man. I don't know. That was like way off topic, because. But yeah, Ajax winds up dying, and Icarus winds up killing her because he's an asshole. And once they complete his job, there's another death in this one.
Yeah. Who else died?
So,
was it Sprite? No. Wasn't Sprite, right?
It was Gilgamesh.
Oh yeah, Gilgamesh. Yeah, he died. That's what I thought you were talking about earlier. But yeah, that was so sad. I saw his body all like green or like bluish.
Yeah.
Damn. Swole as hell, man.
Yeah, he was jacked. I liked his power. He had like little punching gloves he would make and shit.
Yeah, right. I almost thought that they were like like the Hulk gloves from like when you were a kid. It's the whole. I kept getting that image in my head. I was like, he's using Hulk hands.
yeah. Which it was kind of cool. There were some other criticisms I saw from other people after I watched this. I watched other reviewers and talk about it, and a lot of them had an issue with. So there's a part in the end where Sprite kind of teams with Icarus. So she kind of helps, which I'm like, but she also loved Icarus, so she would have followed him no matter what he did. You know what I mean? She didn't do it because she thought it was right. She did it because he's like, oh, I want you to like me, so I'll do whatever you want, which is kind of messed up. But there's
also
a part where
real quick, also too, the way she was looking at him, right, when she followed him to carry on his mission. She kept watching him like as if I know that she liked him, but as if always she was like almost like she was protecting him. She had this look of like concern, like, man, I know you're on this road to do this, but I don't quite agree with it. I felt like she was there for not only to have his back, but as companionship, so that he don't do nothing too crazy. Even though she kind of goes along with what he wanted to do, but the look she gave him
really crazy.
She
That's what I
does.
thought too, man. That's what I thought too. And I really hope she was going to be like the voice of reason.
I thought
You
she
know what I mean?
was. Yeah.
I thought she was going to like convince him, like, you really don't want to do this. She did not. She's like, you want me to stab? Bam, 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 bam. I'll stab this bitch. I'll stab that bitch. You know, I was like,
She really did. I swear
fuck?
she did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, and I guess that's what a lot of people are complaining about is like the eternal, like Cersei got stabbed by Sprite, which is super messed up from in the back of all things, in the back, and she turned the dagger knife thing into water, and then she just kept going. You know, so people were like, wait, but I'm like, they're eternal. It's literally kind of in their name. It's like, granted, they like Ajax's power was to heal, so I'm sure they can heal quick. But also, like, their thing is like they're immortal. You know that they're made not to age or not to die. So if they get wounded, they could basically heal themselves. You know, maybe at a slower rate than what Ajax would do. That's what I assumed. So I really didn't mind that. Like the water went away and she was kind of like fine shortly after.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, so we're upset about that, but we're not upset that they're like 7,000 years old. You know, so I was like, what?
But, I almost kind of thought that scene was. I know I'm trying to hurry up here. Scene was a little pointless too when she did stab her. I'm like, they're immortal. You didn't stab her with anything extra. It was just a regular ass knife.
Yeah, you didn't go for like a chop off the head thing. You just like in the gut,
right? So, yeah, like I think they mentioned earlier about how to kill immortals or something. Like it has to do with like a celestial, you know, doing the killing. She ain't no celestial. What the fuck she thought? But yeah, I don't know. That was a funny scene when she did that.
Yeah, and there was a whole nother like the ending on Cersei kind of. So the which is that was one of the coolest things is the Celestial from Earth is actually coming out. His head's coming out. His hand, like you see his fingers coming out, and you see part of his head coming out from like this ocean. You know, they're like in an island in the middle of nowhere, and it's a volcano and shit. But she kind of turns the Celestial into marble. And a lot of people were like, oh, so she killed the Celestial, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, in the movie, she says it, you know, that she wind up getting some of his power because of the emergence, because he's coming out. They all were linked together, you know, so they didn't need the stupid bracelet at the end, you know, like the Celestial did it. And I went up watching one person. He's like, they were saying like, maybe the Celestial wasn't cool with killing everyone on Earth. You know, because can you imagine? It's like, you know, you were along the ride for the entire time, and now you're the reason why you killed everybody. You know, I mean, it's like, how much did the Celestial know about humans? You know, maybe he was like, you know, he didn't want to, but he was being forced to be born. You know, so it's like, did the Celestial give her a little bit more power? He's like, you need to stop me before this happens. And that's a really good like thing. Is that what happened? I don't know. I mean, hopefully they get a little bit more into it. It's like every Celestial is different. Maybe they're not all like kill, blow up planets. Some of them want to protect people. So
ooh, interesting. Do Celestials have feelings? Those are the real questions. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. It could be one that's like a nice one, nice Celestial.
Yeah. But yeah, man, there's so many spoilers. There's so much I want to talk about this. I'm sure Thursday, if there's a Thursday show, did we just become best friends on the Nerd Huddle? Me and Brian are probably gonna talk a lot more about this with like all the like implications of everything. And
the ending
of
too.
Everything.
And the post credits.
Yeah, we'll probably talk post credits there, for sure.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But you want to get into some of the Eternals ratings?
Yeah, let's do it. So here at the Nerd Huddle, us two Vikings over here, we are the Spoiler Kings. So we actually like to rate movies a little bit different. We're a little bit different, you know? And so the way we watch movies and the way we rate them are, here's how we do it. So we either rate a movie that we watch now, or watch later, or watch never. So a watch now means that the movie is so good that you got to drop everything and get your booty to the theater or to the stream, whatever it is, because it's that good. Watch later means that you can put it on the back burner. It's not really priority, but it is an okay movie to watch. And a watch never means you don't give this movie any time of day, no money. It's not worth it. Don't watch it. So, what you think about the movie? How do you rate it?
Man, I'm super torn between now or later. Oh man, I think overall, I would probably give it a later.
Wow.
I really did like this movie. It had its flaws, it had its problems. But I think a lot of people that were gonna go to see this were expecting a Marvel movie, and this wasn't a Marvel movie. You know, this was very, very different. And that's what I tell everybody who's going to see it. I'm like, don't go in expecting, you know, an Iron Man or Thor Ragnarok, you know, which I think a lot of people want. You know, I'm like, this is a very, very different Marvel movie. You know, it's got its little jokes and stuff, but it's more of a very serious movie that looks pretty and tackles very kind of a serious question when it comes to like powerful beings. You know, like who's worthy, who's not worthy, who's worth protecting, who's worth sacrificing. You know, stuff like that. You know, so I enjoyed that. You know, that's why I'm like really close to a now. I would only go now because the post-credit scenes were amazing. The ending of this film is setting up so much more for the MCU. But I think if you're really a hardcore MCU fan, you might be a little unsatisfied with overall how the movie is. I would probably give it a later. But for me, it's like right there in the now later area. I really don't know which one exact to give it, but yeah, I don't know. What about you, man?
I'm pretty torn as well. So I'm a Marvel movie fan, and I'm also just a regular movie fan, just for the storyline purposes. I like stories that kind of set up bigger things. So when it comes to Marvel's Eternals, it really does sound like a setup movie. So sometimes in these setup movies, they don't really, put all their marbles out in the, in the first play. They kind of just, they save some of that goody stuff for the next movie, for like a sequel. And I see that coming from this movie. And so with that being said, I do rate this movie a watch later, just because it was a different movie. Like how you said, Tank. It was just a movie that was meant to tell a bigger story for later on. And I think Eternals 2, if and when that happens, will be way better than this one. I think they're setting that one up to be like a grand slam type movie, and then it'll make this one look bad for some reason. But then I think what I think they're gonna do is they're gonna make this one look not as good and make the next one look so good, then you're gonna have to look back on this one anyways, just to get some more clarity on what's to come next. Yeah. So it did a good job, but I think it is a later. Would you watch it again?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. I really want to watch it again, just to kind of get a lot of the stuff that I maybe missed, but yeah, I would watch it again for sure. What about you? Watch it again?
I'd watch it again. Yeah. How soon would I watch it? Not so soon. Like, again, this movie, I was expecting so much. I was expecting a lot of just like crazy off the wall scenes, and I didn't get what I expected. But just as a movie fan, it did amazing. Like some of the visuals and the character, storylines that they were trying to talk about were pretty damn dope. And I would almost want to give it a now, but just because of the disappointment that I had, at the end of this movie, is what gives me a later for this.
Yeah. Like the end of the movie, I liked a lot. There's a lot of the middle stuff that was kind of a lot of people I think are upset by there's a lot of characters in this movie, and you don't get a lot of backstory for each, but I think you get enough, and I think that's what people need to realize too. Like it's a group movie. It's not called The Eternal, it's called Eternals. So it's a group of them, and it's going to focus a little bit on each. A lot of people I've watched don't like that. They want like one character to focus on. For me personally, I like that it was a group, and everyone got their little bit of, backstory. or issue and stuff like that. But there are a lot of irrelevant characters too, like the deviants meant nothing. Like the main deviant bad guy just gets like sliced at the end by Athena, and I was just super disappointed. So it was like I thought they were gonna do something bigger with the deviants, and it was just like, oh no, gotcha. You thought they were the bad guys, but they're really not. So I was like, So that's stuff like that is kind of like what pushes me a little bit more to the later.
Okay.
But it's still, I love the movie. I thought it was really, really well done. But very different, very different. So real quick, going to some of the money wise, the box office. This film earned $161.7 million globally and $71 million domestic. So that is pretty good numbers when it comes to I think it's like the third or fourth biggest film of the year. I mean, I don't know what's worse. I mean, those kind of like stats during like COVID are kind of like, of course, there's not that many good movies out, but it is what it is. But let's get into Rotten Tomatoes, because oh boy, are there a big difference. So Rotten Tomatoes it's got as of recording this video right now, it's got a 48% tomato meter, which is holy crap. I did not expect that. But It's got an 80% audience. So obviously
it's the hardcore fans.
Sorry, my cat's being a little butthole.
It's okay.
I had to kick him out. Get out of here. But the fans like it. 80%. The critics do not like it.
Wow.
So some of the critics, so we got Forbes. Forbes, he said he enjoyed it despite being too long. And one of the reasons was the humor, which it did have good humor. I enjoyed that. Another was that it just felt kind of quirky and different from most Marvel movies these days, which is what I liked. I was like, I don't want to see, here's Black Panther in gold, and they fight. It's like, I want something with actual like substance. And I felt like this, with all the family issues they are having, definitely did. So here's another one from the Denver Post. He said, gorgeous and vacant. The Eternals is the most numbing entry in Marvel's 13-year-old MCU franchise. It even as it struggles to be the weirdest and most philosophical. I would say it's weird. Yeah, I guess a little weird. But I don't know, the most numbing? I don't know. It didn't have the crazy action. It had good action. It didn't have like Thor, bashing a rock into pieces and shit, So I mean, it was very different, very different. I don't know. But yeah, those are, I think that's gotta be one. It's the lowest rated, or one of the lowest rated MCU movies on Rotten Tomatoes. So, yeah.
Crazy upset.
Yeah, I think Dean Richards here in Chicago. I love Dean Richards. He's our movie critic, local movie critic in Chicago. A big shot in like Hollywood movie critics. He gave it a B+. And I tend to agree with a lot of what Dean Richards enjoys, just because I think he gets it. And I'm right there with him. I'm like, yeah, that's where I'm at. So, but yeah. If you want to talk more Eternals with us, we're gonna be on Thursday. Did we just become best friends over on the Nerd Huddle? So go check out that in the description, and it's gonna be I don't know if Will show up. He's always welcome.
I'll try my best.
But if not, me and Brian is another huge nerd. So we're gonna definitely nerd out about this and all the potential happenings of this film. So definitely check us out on Thursday. We're gonna have some fun with it, hopefully. I know Brian's like super busy right now, but yeah, man. Cool. Anything else before we move on?
Nah. Say stick around for our double header. We're moving on to movie number 2, which we'll talk about in just a hot second.
Yep. Yep. Cool. Yeah, no, I think that's it. So if you're watching live, stick around. If you're watching on replay, this video is gonna end here. If you want to watch our review of The Harder They Fall, go check out our video. I'm gonna put it in the description somewhere up here, so click on that and you can check us out over there and let us know what you thought about that movie as well. But for the live viewers, just want to get right into it.
Dude.
Ooh, Harder They Fall. So I don't know if you got the synopsis ready or not.
I got it ready. It's such a short one, but you know what? I got some stuff to add on to it. I think I can.
Cool.
I can wing it.
Yeah, dude. Let me bring up the trailer. Bring that up.
All right. So here we have the 2021 movie. There's also another movie called The Harder They Fall, but this is the 2021 movie about an outlaw who's named Nat Love. Discovers that his enemy, his long time enemy, is being released from prison. So Nat reunites with his gang that I guess he hasn't seen in a while, kind of departed from the squad, to seek revenge in this old Western. So Nat Love, that's played by Jonathan Majors, pretty much it shows in the very beginning of the movie, it shows him as a kid, and he witnesses his parents being murdered. So that's the whole revenge piece of this. He knows who's the one who killed his parents, because the guy who killed his parents left him a mark on his forehead with like a razor blade, even put a nice little cross on his forehead. And we'll let you know what that means close to the end, so stick around. But yeah, the guy that he wants revenge on is played by Idris Elba, and his name is something Buck. What was his name again? Rufus Buck. Yep. And so Rufus Buck is someone that likes to rob banks. He's just like an overall bad guy. Kind of runs a town a little bit. He's kind of drunken with power, and he's done really bad things that landed him in jail. So Nat Love, the main character of this movie, I would say, he's a guy that he's not a good guy, he's not a bad guy, but what he does do is he does rob other robbers, if you will.
Yeah.
So like the guy,
like
the
Robin
robbers, Hood. Like Robin Hood, yeah. So guys that rob banks and whatnot, really bad guys, and they do it for their own malicious intent. Nat Love will go ahead and rob those guys and try to have those guys locked up, but then he keeps the money for himself. Yeah, Robin Hood. Fucking A. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I mean, basically, yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not robbing from the rich, but it's robbing from the robbers. So yeah, the bad guys. But yeah, yeah.
But that's the movie in a nutshell. Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. So just real quick, right off the bat, the movie starts and it says, although the story is made up, all the characters are real. So I thought that was super cool. So Rufus Buck was an actual like black cowboy. Nate Love, Cherokee Bill, Bass Reeves, I mean, Bill Pickett.
Cuffy?
Those were actual. Yeah, Cuffy.
Cuffy real?
Cuffy.
Love Cuffy.
Yeah, she was super badass. I loved her.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I thought that was super cool. Where they were like, all right, cool. Since these people never like actually interacted, we're gonna take all these characters that were real, and bring them together to make a really cool like story.
That's awesome.
So I thought that was super cool.
Wow.
Cool. It's kind of like Netflix did something like silly like that with the presidents. It came out on 4th of July. I forgot what it was called, but they had like all the presidents, and they were like a superhero squad of Abraham Lincoln and George Washington, and and so it's like, yeah. So here's all these characters that they made a stupid it was very stupid. But this one, obviously not stupid. But they were like, hey, here's all these cool characters. Let's do something fun with them. So I thought that was super, super cool. So,
hell yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that. They showed that in the very beginning of the movie when you play it. This is a movie that was available through Netflix, right? It's number one right now. Yeah, number one on Netflix. But yeah, I forgot that they mentioned that. I totally forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me. Fucking A. Real characters. That's badass.
I thought that was super cool. Super, super cool. And then also one of the producers, Jay-Z.
Get the really?
Yeah.
My man's just
they don't say Jay-Z, but they was Sean Carter. Sean Carter. He's like one of the producers or something like that. So obviously he didn't use Jay-Z, but that's him. So it was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, talk about representation again. They had who's who of like black actors. Like, wow. Jonathan Majors is like the new guy on the thing. I mean, he's in the MCU and he's going to be a major character in the MCU.
So good, man.
Oh, he's so freaking. He's such a good actor. And then Idris Elba, who's been on the scene forever. He knows how to play everything. He can play a bad guy. He can play a good guy. He can play a spy, which he's already done. I mean, that's why so many people want him to be 007.
007,
British. Yes. So, although his British accent did kind of come through a little bit. I don't know. At the end, he's doing this little monologue to Nate Love, and you can hear, but he has that exaggerated Southern accent, so that can hide it. But ever since my girlfriend showed me like when British people talk English, like American English, you can hear it. But since he had that little Southern, twang to his speech, he was able to hide it a little bit better. But yeah, you heard it a little bit. But that was kind of funny. But it obviously didn't ruin the movie or anything. But it was super.
No, not at all.
But yeah, man, what were some things you liked? I know we're already talking about it.
I know. Okay, this cast was stacked. So one of my favorite actors, that man killed it in this movie. Like I couldn't. If you were to take him out, I probably wouldn't even want to see the movie because he's just that good. Is the guy who played Cherokee Bill, who is Lakeith Stanfield?
Yes.
Bro, he has an essence about him, man. He got a whole vibe that like. I didn't even know he had that range for his acting. I first seen him in the movie Dope. You ever seen the movie Dope?
Yeah.
And he does a nice little scene in there where he acts hard and whatnot. I'm like, okay, cool. Like he's playing, typical African American roles, which I'm not really crazy about because I like to see him do more excellent things and not just do stuff that's stereotyped. And so then he does a role of damn it, the guy, the freaking, I can't think of the damn terms. Death Note. He was in Death Note. He played the voice of Ryuk.
In the live action one?
Live action, yeah.
Oh, I didn't watch. I didn't watch that.
It was so bad. It was really bad.
It's so bad. Yeah. I didn't know that though. That's funny though.
But he was in there, so I was like, "Oh snap!"
After watching this movie, he's got some vocal chops, man. Like,
oh yeah,
I can see him being a voice actor because this movie was very different. Because I saw him, the last big movie I saw him in was in Judas and the Black Messiah, which he was up for an Academy Award. Wow. I think he it was a good shot. He should have won it. But he was like a black guy from the street, so he kind of had a little different, street kind of talk to him. It was part of the Black Panther Party and stuff like that back then in Chicago, of all places. So, and in this one, it took me a second. I'm like, that's him? Because he had a very different tone. Like it didn't even sound like him. I was like, how is he able to like, because in Dope he had a different voice, in Judas and Black Messiah he had a different voice, and then in this one, again, very different voice, and it threw me off. It threw me off for a second, But he was a badass, man. We'll get into spoilers at the end, but for he was he done the role really, really well.
Um, again, I know I don't want to focus too much on him, but just last thing is the fact that he can now like play a good guy, bad guy. He can play young dude, old dude. He needs more respect. I'm gonna say this. He needs more respect, and here's why. Right. One last thing. He needs more respect because there was like an interview. I think it was with like the Breakfast Club radio show, and they were making fun of him because they said like, "Oh, how old are you, bro? You like 30 something? Or you like 25?" He's like, "Dude, I'm super young. I'm this age." I forgot how old he said he was, but he's way younger than what he like portrays himself. But he can switch it up, and no one's realizing that till now. That my man's can play young, old, here, there. He's just range is crazy. But yeah, besides him, Cass is crazy. They brought Delroy Lindo, who plays Bass Reeves. Super good. He was the marshal in the movie who like, man, I didn't know marshals can let people rob banks. But anyways, no, I'm kidding.
Yeah, right.
Which is not a spoiler. You can know that. But anyways, who else, man? Who really wowed me? Oh, the dude that played the Black Ranger. The Black Ranger was in here. So the guy RJ Silent, Jim Beckworth. The guy who plays Jim Beckworth. The one that wanted to show his skills.
Yeah. I thought you meant the original Black Ranger.
No, not that.
Was
it the Blue Ranger? Oh no, I'm sorry. He was the Blue Ranger.
He played the Blue Ranger.
The Blue Ranger. Yeah. Yes.
I was like, what? I didn't see no breakdancing guy.
No. But he played the Blue Ranger. He's really good in here, man. Like I wish he would have shined more in this movie, but. And then we got the freaking legendary Regina King killing it. She is fierce. She needs to be respected too.
I loved her character. She played Trudy Smith. Yeah. I loved her character. She was a badass, man. She didn't take shit. She was cold-blooded. Oh yeah, she tells a story about like when they were younger with her sister. Ooh, man, that if that didn't scare you. But I like Zazie Beetz was in it. But also she was a stagecoach Mary. But I felt like she wasn't utilized. Like a little bit in the beginning, and then in the middle she was just like in jail a lot of the time, and at the end she had the big fight with Regina King. But I was like, for most of the movie though, she was just like a plot point. She was an actual like a character, they're like, oh, they have to go save her, I was like, but
am I crazy? Awesome. Am I crazy, or does this give you like Super Mario vibes? Like she was Princess Peach and freaking Jonathan Majors was Mario, and then Idris Elba was freaking Bowser.
Very, very true. Very true.
But yes, but what about you? What you like about the movie?
First, it's, again, the cast was insane. Jonathan Majors he's so good. There's that part where they're singing when they're getting ready to like rob the bank, and obviously he never robbed the bank. He always robbed the bad guys, kind of thing. So it was kind of he was getting ready to do something he didn't want to do, and they're singing, but there's a part where he like looks and stares at the camera and like sings and like holds that note at the end, and he's just like staring, and he's just staring at the screen, and I'm like, oh man, it just felt like uncomfortable, and I was like, that was he's got that thing, man, and it's he's really
was that breaking the fourth wall? Was that breaking the fourth wall? I don't
know. I mean, a little bit, because he was looking right
in the middle of the camera.
Yeah, dead at you, man, like dead right in your eyes, kind of thing. So that was super cool. Delroy, was cool seeing him back. But the one that really got me, which surprised me, was first of all, two of them. Dion Cole. He was Willie. He was the chief, or not chief, the sheriff of the town. Then and then Rufus Buck came back and took back his town from him. I was like, Dion Cole. I was like, all right, because he always plays stupid stuff. He's on. He always plays like a silly character. he was, with his gold teeth and shit in it. He was legit. He was pretty cool. But he was like that traitor Judas kind of guy. But because you find out he betrayed Rufus. But he was really, really good. But the one that really got me is I couldn't figure it out until like after the film. Was me and my girlfriend were watching it, and one of the first bigger scenes is the guys in the red hood, who robbed the bank.
Yeah.
They get caught by the Nate Love's crew, and one of them looked very familiar. And me and my girlfriend the whole time is like, is that a Wayans? We're like, no.
Yeah.
Like, is that a Wayans? No. And the whole time, and I'm like, I literally spent like 5 minutes looking through like the cast and IMDb, and I'm like, all right, I need to stop because I want to focus. I'm missing the movie. And then after the movie, I ended up finding it was Damon Wayans Jr. was in this film, and it threw me off because I'm like, I don't remember the last time I even saw him. Like,
he was in Let's Be Cops, right? Wasn't he in there?
Yeah, in 2014.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I remember him in Major Pain.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he's in this Happy Together show too. But I mean, I'm really glad he's back and seeing him back in
big screen. Hell yeah,
in a good but yeah, seeing Damon Wayans Jr. man, Damon Wayans in it was pretty awesome. It threw me off because I'm like, it did not look like him.
They changed his face a little bit, right? Like his facial, like hair or features, like his eyebrows were thicker or something. They really did try to like throw you off. I want to say that was on purpose, even.
Yeah,
he's always known for the comedy.
Yeah, I don't know if it was his jacked up teeth because he had like yellow jacked up teeth. But it was just like, I don't know, it was just maybe I just haven't seen him in a long time, but it was just cool seeing him like back on the screen. And in this movie of all things, which is gonna go down as like one of the, like, I that's why I wish kind of like Brian and Marvin were here, because I wanted their input as like black men. Like, what did you think? How did it affect you? And I'm sure me and Brian are gonna get into it on Thursday, talking about it. But I'm sure this movie is gonna go down as one of like the biggest films, especially in modern days, of like black like culture. Because it took Westerns, who's predominantly white people, because we saw like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where like that shit. So it's like all white guys doing stupid shit, John Wayne and all that. Where this was like, cool, here's real people that we made a cool story with, and they all happen to be black. So man, I mean, that's like, for me, that's super cool, and it was just like a cool story, put in a lot of their own like cool things. Jay-Z's part of it, of all people. So but I don't know, man. Like that one got me. And isn't Damian Wayans, he was Homie the Clown, right?
No. Oh, Damon Wayans, yeah, but Junior, no. You're talking about Junior or Damon Wayans?
Junior.
Junior was not Homie the Clown. His dad was.
Right? It was his dad.
Yeah, which was. I wish they would bring that character back. I freaking love Homie the Clown. Homie don't play that.
Yeah, that's right. It's his dad. But
which is nuts that, man, now we're on like the next generation of Wayne's Bros.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, man, I thought that was super cool. Anything else like super good that you liked?
Okay, the style that this movie was shot in, with the Bears are doing something.
I'm watching the Bears game.
Oh my god! Also. I hear just yelling and testosterone just being. What's going on? Hold on.
I think the Bears just scored a touchdown. They were watching it because the Bears. Yeah. So I don't know if anybody, like, obviously no one watching it really cares. Over on the Nerd Huddle, we talk a lot about football. So, and then tomorrow, Panda and Grizzly on Tuesdays, they're gonna break this game down like play by play at this point, because the Bears were not doing well, and it looks like they could possibly be winning right now.
Yeah,
take the lead. So
at least that way.
Be pretty awesome. We'll see. But yeah, so that's the random screaming screaming in the background.
Yeah, that's what's going on.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, what was I saying? Good things that I got from this. Oh, the style. The style is what I was going with. The style that this was kind of filmed in, or recorded, or produced, I should say, kind of reminded me of like a really dark, like Quentin Tarantino type movie.
Yeah.
It really gave me those vibes, and like I'm not the biggest fan of Quentin Tarantino. I think he's
really?
a little bit racist. I think because he's racist. That's why.
Oh yeah, he's super racist. yeah, well, I'll get into that in a second, but yeah.
That's why. His actual skill and what he can do with some movie stuff, really good. He's got skills, but him, I don't like him because I think he's racist. But anyway, and sexist. Yeah, There was like one movie that he made, and I know I'm going off topic, but there's one movie that he made that like said the N word like more than like 20, 30 times.
That's exactly.
Or I think for one character they had to say it, and then and whoever it was, a celebrity, was like, "No, I'm not doing this, bro. You kidding me?"
So
like, he just wants that word to be said so many times. Like,
it was Django Unchained with Jamie Foxx was Django, and the other bigger character that is a meme now is Leonardo DiCaprio. He was the one that said the N word a lot. But and that was one thing is in this film. I know. I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off. But
you're good. Go ahead.
Just on that part there's a part where Trudy, which is Regina King, they're trying to stop the train. The train like stops, right? And then he gets out and he's about to say "you stupid" and say the N word, and like it came out and she shot him. And then when one of Buck's other gang members came out, he's like, he could have been saying nincompoop or something, and she goes, well, we ain't no nincompoops either. I was like, that's funny, because then the first thing me and my girlfriend said were like, oh look, it's a black cowboy movie that doesn't have to say the N word 150 times a minute, like Quentin Tarantino. It's like,
yep.
Where here is like, it's like it wasn't said once in the movie, and I don't know. I mean, I thought that was pretty cool, because it was just like, I don't know. It was interesting.
It doesn't need to be said. It doesn't need to be said. At the end of the day, you can't associate that word with people of color all the time. Sometimes you gotta, leave that in the past, like leave people of color to use that word as they please, but don't force it upon them, because that's what's attached to them. No. We're progressive. We're in the year 2021, and I'm so glad that they didn't use the word. And if they did, that's their choice. As people who made this movie, I don't know who directed this movie again.
He was another pretty big actor. No, that's not it.
Either way,
that's not right. I forgot what his name was. Oh my god.
It's okay. Yeah, it's not popping up
because it says here. I'm like, wait, that's not right. There you go. James Samuel.
There you go. Boom.
James Samuel.
Great job, James Samuel. You did great.
Yeah. I thought it was super cool that like they just didn't use it, because like they made a point that like this word is not good. It's not meant to be good. And then they kept that the entire time, where no one said it. So they made a point of it, and then they kept to it, and they were just like, because the movie was more than that. And I didn't even think about it until like afterward, until I read a few articles about it. It was like, they didn't say it once. I'm like, okay, that's cool. But yeah, the opposite of Quentin Tarantino, who says it a bazillion times in Django. But his thing, he wanted a Django to be more authentic, quote unquote. So, you have the white plantation owner say it, so much. Yeah.
Sounds like the man was boasting. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I don't want to get too controversial, but like, I don't know. I got my opinions about him. If you if you want to talk, Quentin Tarantino controversial stuff, hit us in the DMs or on our social links. But anyways, moving on. Anything else that you really liked in this movie?
I like that they went silly gory with the blood. I'm like, because because my girlfriend's like, oh, is it gonna be really violent? I'm like, probably. It's a western. So there's gonna be a lot of shooting. But every time there was like somebody gets shot, it wasn't like it was like over like blah. It was like Tarantino style, where it was just so exaggerated that it's not like, oh, it's more like kind of like you kind of like laugh at it, or you're like kind of, I don't say laugh at it, but it doesn't bother you as much if it looked more realistic, quote unquote. But yeah, it was definitely over the top done, which I appreciated that a lot. So I don't know. That was my little thing. So
I do love that it was rated R. Any Western, if you do it PG-13 or under, it's just not going to come out right. Because back then there was no filters. There was no filters on what people thought, said, did. Socially, life was way different. So I'm glad that they kept it, closer to what it would have sounded like back then. Back then, kids were swearing up storms. I mean, kids nowadays swear anyways, but I'm talking about like babies. Babies were just saying swear words back then. Good job with dialogue and like with the story, which is really good. Not gonna spoil just yet what happens, but like we find out some information and we're like, whoa, and it changes perspective for the whole movie.
Yeah, that was really that was insane. We'll get into that in a few minutes.
That's it for me as far as the good stuff. I mean, it was a really good movie, but as far as the stuff that like stood out to me, that's what popped.
Yeah. Well, what about any bad stuff? Anything that kind of like rubbed you the wrong way, or you're like, eh?
Bad stuff. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and piggyback off of what you said earlier, which was the fact that the stagecoach Mary, played by Zazie Beetz, she's such a good actress. She was in Deadpool 2. She was in some other movies that are really good, and the fact that she couldn't like use her wit or like use more, like I thought she was gonna escape, so she gets like tied up or like held hostage, so that Nat Love could go rescue her and kind of summon him to come get her. She was so helpless, and I hated the fact to see anyone in this movie, especially a person of color, looking helpless. I didn't want that, man. Like, I love the scene. Oh, I forgot to mention this. I love the scene when they, and this sounds terrible, by the way. I don't hate people or have any people of any kind, but it was just so funny to see when they robbed that train with the white dudes. And they just made them look so goofy. Like the dudes were like locked in a room, which they could have just like, they could have shot out of, camping in there, and they could have maybe survived. But they made those dudes look so goofy that like they put their gun down and everything, and they just, man, that was a flawless train robbery. I love how well executed that was. But for the bad things, I did. I didn't like, again, how Zazie Beetz looked just so helpless that she couldn't be, like how you said, utilized in a better way.
Yeah,
you could have.
She kind of gets redeemed. She gets redeemed a little bit at the end with the Regina King fight, because that was a really good fight. That was a hand to hand kind of ish. They did use like butts of guns and stuff like that, and like a pitchfork, but it wasn't a shootout. Because the guys were doing the shootout outside, and these two were like beating the shit out of each other. So she kind of redeemed herself a little bit with that, because she was a badass, but yeah.
What about you? What kind of rubbed you the wrong way with this movie?
Man, I don't know. Like, it was just like, it was so good from beginning. The beginning was insane. All the way to the end was just like, I just got more and more invested in this movie. And Yeah, I'm trying to think of something that really like was bad. Um,
What'd you think of the bank robbery scene? Think it was a good or bad scene?
I like that. I like
You
that
liked it?
because he's like
Yeah.
listen, I don't want to kill people, so shut up and do what you gotta do. Like So I like that. I thought it was cool. I like Cuffy, who is a female,
Yeah.
and it was it um Jim Buckwood or Buckworth, who was like the
Yes.
loudmouth like fast guy or quote unquote trying to be a fast guy. Um,
Yes.
there was that was another like where he's like oh I was almost attracted to her, but he thought it was a guy, so it was like it's borderline like oh wait what, and he's like oh I'm the only one, and everyone's like yeah you're the only one, so it was like I thought that was kind of like cool, but yeah Cuffy was badass. I loved her. She
Yeah.
was a super cool character. um I'm trying to think of anything bad. I don't know. I mean, I thought the time was perfect. It didn't go on too long. It was 2 hours and 20 minutes. So, well, it didn't feel like it. I'm trying to think of something that was bad.
What'd you
know.
think of Cuffy having to dress up more feminine to do the bank robbery? Was that okay?
Yeah, because then I didn't mind that because they kind of like starts into like some of the like sexual preferences or gender preferences. It's like she felt more comfortable, with a gun and obviously because there's a part where she's trying to look for the gun and she keeps hiking up the dress till she finally gets to her thigh, to pull out the
Yeah.
gun. So
Yeah.
and it, if she had just her normal clothes on, it would have just bam bam, like she was super quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, so there is something I didn't like, but it is a spoiler.
Oh, okay. I have dislike too, but I'm saving it for the spoiler as well.
I wonder if it's the same thing.
I don't know.
So you just want to get into any spoilers real quick? Spoiler good and bad.
Let me take a look. Cast one. Yeah, we can do that. I think touch on everybody. Yep. Wait, hold on. Yeah. Let's move on to spoiler time.
Yeah.
So, us being the spoiler kings, we will spoil the movie for you. So, if this is not the time for you to want to hear these things, make sure you save us to your favorites. Come back to us after you've watched the movie. It's on Netflix, so you should. Everybody got Netflix, man.
Everyone got Netflix. If not, call your aunt, call your uncle, get their login.
Somebody's got it, bro.
Yeah. Exactly.
Anyways. Yeah, make sure you come back, and so now it's spoiler time. So, what's the thing that you don't like? Yeah.
So the part, it's right at the end, and Bill Pickett, who's like the sniper guy for Nat Love's group, the good guys. He's like the sniper.
Yeah. He's on top.
He's up top sniping people and helping out, and he's super awesome shot. He ends up coming down because it's kind of like I think everyone's mostly dead, so he's like there, and Cuffy is there, reloading and stuff, and he's like there, and he had his lucky coin in his jacket. He pulls it out. And he sees he got shot, but the coin stopped it. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, that's funny. His lucky coin. They talked about it a few times in the episode.
Yep.
But then, big boom, gunshot. He starts bleeding, looks over his shoulder, and Cherokee Bill shot him in the back. Dude, I was so pissed. I was so pissed. And then as you think about it, you're like, oh, they told you that's what he does. Because he's the fastest, he's the fastest quick draw was Cherokee Bill. So, but they're like, oh, he's the fastest, but he'll still shoot you in the back. That was like his little rumor about him kind of thing, and
dirty.
Sure enough, man. And he was like this guy with like honor, supposedly. He's always talked about being nice and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he shot. I was so mad because I loved Bill Pickett, and I hated the way he died. But he's the bad guy, and he's a dirty bad guy. And even him being the quickest draw, he still will shoot you in the back. And I was like, son of a bitch. That pissed me off. I mean, not that not in a bad way where I'm like it ruined the film, more in like I had a connection with some of these characters, you know, and I'm like, Bill just pulled out his lucky coin, you know, that saved his life, and then
I felt it, bro. Dude, when he pulled the coin, I felt it. I was like, oh, good, yeah. I was almost cheering in my seat. I was cheering, and then turns around. That was rough.
Yeah. But that was the only really like bad thing I hated about the movie, but it wasn't like I hated it. It was more like upsetting because it was just a thing that needed that. A lot of them wind up dying. You know, Jim Buckworth wind up getting shot in the face by Cherokee Bill. Just bam. Dead in the face.
Which you know segues into the thing that I disliked about the movie. So we learned in the movie that Jim Beckworth, who's the guy that you just said that got shot in the face, he's somebody he's a young kid that also prides himself in being the fastest in the West or whatever. And he wants, and since he knows about the rumor that Cherokee Bill is really, really fast, he wants to challenge him. So he challenges him early on in the movie. And then even Delroy is like, hey, man, or Bass Reeves is like, hey, man, right now's not the time. Don't do this.
Even Nate Love,
like,
Nate Love was like,
man.
Chill, man. Yeah.
And so, like, because of that scene, I was like, man, I wonder if he's going to get his opportunity, you know, close to the end of the movie to show his skills, right? I was looking forward to that so much. Yeah. And the thing that I dislike and the thing that you dislike, I definitely, now that you reminded me about how Bill Pickett died, that was so dirty. Again, like, we don't hate the fact that it was in the movie. It was the fact that we were so invested in these characters and that the way that they died was so dirty. Again, by Cherokee freaking Bill. So with Jim Beckworth, he finally gets his chance, right, in the end of the damn movie to get his standoff with Cherokee Bill, and they have a count to 5 before they were able to draw. That were the terms that were discussed before doing the shoot-off. And you know what Cherokee Bill did? He counted to 3 and then shot him. You dirty bastard.
Yeah. I mean, that should have like forewarned you, like, hey, he's not a good guy.
No, man. And it's not that I dislike the actor. The actor, oh my god! Again, like Keith Stanfield.
He did it. He
killed it. Like his face is just stone cold. His head is just like down, and he just with his cowboy hat. He just like, that's how it is, dog. And he's just, man, he's so good. But that got me pissed in the movie. I was like, damn it, he killed him, and we'll never know if Jim Beckworth was better or faster than Cherokee Bill. We'll never know now because he's freaking dead. Spoiler alert. And so luckily we get a little bit of justice later on from Cuffy. Cuffy, of all people, which is, by the way, my favorite character in this whole movie. Cuffy was awesome. But Cuffy, she actually stands up to Cherokee Bill, and she's like, hey, you know, she's all like fidgety and like really like just hurts. Like she felt, you know, the losses that were, you know, that happened that day. And she was like, no, we doing this right way. And, you know, we're going to do this, whatever. And she beats him. She beats Lakeith with the quick draw. And she's like, yeah. And I wasn't even faster. You know, Jim Beckworth was faster than me. You know, so pretty much that, I guess, kind of settles it that Jim was faster than. Is that what she said? Because I wanted to rewind, but I didn't. Because she said there's a part where they're around a campfire, and Jim Buckworth was just all like you know, spinning his guns and being all fancy and shit, and talking trash. And he's like, "Oh, you seen anybody faster?" And she's like, "Yeah, in the mirror." And I was like, "Ooh!" And they all make fun of her and shit, you know. And then I'm like, okay. And then she wound up being like the fastest, but I don't remember. Is that what? So she said. She said that for sure. She said that, Because so right after she kills or beats Cherokee Bill to the quick draw, she's like, yeah, and Jim Beckworth was faster, whatever. Like she made it known that if she could beat him, that Jim would have beat him, no problem. Yeah. That's what she made it out to seem.
Yeah. I was kind of sad because he was counting really, really slow, and I think that's what pissed off Cherokee Bill. He's like, why do they always count slow? I was like, oh, you're a dick. But he like took out all his bullets, counted the five. He puts in a bullet that says Cherokee on it or something, like made specifically for him. So I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a good little showdown. And nope. I was like, oh, that was cold. That was cold. Yeah. But yeah, all the deaths in it were just really, really well done. It sucked. Some of these people that died, I was really mad. The way Dion Cole died, Willie. Yeah, he was going in and blowing up shit, and and then Idris Elba comes down and like blows up shoots the freaking. First he's like, oh, I know it was you that turned me in, and then right when like Willie was gonna say something, he just shoots the dynamite and bam, he gets blown up. Jesus. Like, Jesus. Yeah. So do you wanna talk about the big twist at the end that just seals the movie for me?
Yes. So, as I've talked about it earlier in this video, the reason why, what's his name? Hold on, let me set this up right. The reason why Nat Love his whole mission is to find his killer for his parents, right? Who just so happens to be Idris Elba. He wants to get revenge. That's why that's his whole life's mission, right? And so we find out that Rufus Buck, right? Nat Love, Rufus Buck, they're actually related. And here's how. So at the very end, Rufus Buck tells Nat Love a little story. He's like, hey, man, I see that you had a good upbringing and you had both your parents there and blah, blah, blah. And you just, you had this I don't know the way he said it, but pretty much he had a good life, and Rufus is like, man, and I had a crappy life, I watched my father, beat my mom and blah blah blah, and he just talking about all his traumas, and I feel for him, right? I really feel for even the bad guy, Rufus Buck, and so he's like, yeah, and then one day my dad just left, and he started a new family with a mom with the lady, and they had a kid, and we find out that the connection between all of this is the family that Rufus Buck's dad made or created was Nat Love's family. So really, Nat Love is not Nat Love. He changed his name because he's actually Nat Buck. He's Buck.
Yeah. So I mean, the dad. So their dad changed their name. I guess he said, okay. He was an alcoholic, and he was like all this like he was not a good guy. But then he went clean, got sober, became a pastor. I think he said pastor or a priest or something like that. So he was a man of God. And then, which I mean, the end of the movie ties in perfectly to the beginning of the movie, because the beginning of the movie is the scene where Rufus, kills the mom and then kills the dad and scars Nate Love or Nat Love, and I just thought that was like, because the whole time I'm like, oh, he's gonna say he's the real dad, he's gonna say like he's his. That's what I was thinking. And then he's like, oh no, we're brothers. I was like, oh, that's even better. I was like, because I did not see that coming. And I was like, holy shit, because then the cross just means so much more. That's on his head is like, oh, our father left me, and became a man of God and had you, his little like, little, savior boy or whatever, and the cross was like that. But that was like, but I think Idris Elba winds up saying he put the cross on his head to know when he's coming to him. He's like, so I know it's you, so I know you're coming after me. I see the mark. I'm like, oh, that's cold blooded.
That is. That's so deep and sick. That's sick, bro.
The one thing
thought about that really deep.
Rufus Buck was not stupid. He was a very, very, very smart man. They tried tricking him a few times, and he knew that shit right off the bat. He's like, "What do you think? I'm stupid?" He goes, "I know what you're doing." And he would like explain, like, you know, with Stagecoach Mary. He goes, "I know what you're doing." He goes, "Why are you here? You think I'm stupid?" He goes, "Go beat her up. And, you know, put her in jail." Like he was a very smart man.
Very quick. Yep.
There's the thing I didn't like. The blue dancer in the bar. What the what the hell was that? Remember, there was the blue painted woman with the gold like little spots. When Stagecoach Mary first goes into the bar to meet Rufus Buck, she walks in and there's a lady singing on stage, which is okay, whatever, you know, that no big deal. And then there's this lady in blue, all painted blue, and is dancing. Too? Yeah, head to toe, like all blue. And she's like dancing all weird and shit. I'm like, what the fuck? That's the only part where I'm like, I don't get it. Am I missing something?
Let me just ask you, Tank. By any chance, did you take any psychedelics when you watched this movie?
I know, right?
I don't remember that part. I don't remember that part at all. It sounds nuts.
Oh, let's see if I can find it real quick.
Wow, I missed that. I really missed that. If that happened in the movie, that sounds nuts.
Yeah,
it sounds like a psychedelic trip. You said a lady.
Maybe now you made me think. Now I'm like, did I make it up? Did it, like somebody like drugged me or some shit?
Maybe you drugged it. No, I don't know. I'm trying to like really dig deep. I know I watched the movie. I watched it from beginning to end. I didn't really have any distractions for any of these movies, but she was painted blue. When you mentioned her dancing weird. Blue. Like that rings a bell a little bit. I think I remember that kind of, but painted blue, gold polka dots. You said,
like gold, like pasties. Like obviously her nips were covered.
Oh, was she okay? It's coming back to you now. So that did happen. Was she like those dancers on the ropes? I don't know what that's called. There's a name for those people.
No, right? She wasn't on a rope or anything.
That's weird.
It was just you made me look it up real quick. I can't find a picture of it. Luckily it's on it. But yeah, that's the only part where I'm like, what the heck is going on? You know? Because that's the only part where I was just like, I had no idea what was going on with that part. See if I find it real quick. So that's why I was like, maybe you knew? That's what I was like.
I probably just looked past that so quick because maybe it confused me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that sounds nuts. But it's now ringing a bell. Yeah. She was on your sky. She was real petite, right? Petite lady.
Yeah. Here, I don't know if you could see it on there. But my green screen probably doesn't help. But yeah, when they're in the bar.
Yeah, what the hell? She was just
she's like,
who put her?
She's like doing like all these like acrobats and kind of like stuff like that, and I'm like, I don't get it. Like, is he just trying to be like fancy? Because now he's like, yeah, she's like on the bar dancing.
Yeah. Oh, I don't remember that. Now I definitely remember. She had like it looks like her pasties or whatever were like on fire almost. They had a gold hue to them.
Yeah.
It reminded me of fire. I know she wasn't on fire, but like I do now. Okay, now it's coming back. But I don't know why she was there. You could totally take her out of the movie, and the movie's the same thing.
Yeah, that whole scene when she's walking through, because Stagecoach Mary is walking through the bar, and you hear the dance or the singer, and you see the singer, and then there's this weird blue lady dancing. I was like,
is she a white? Is she a Caucasian lady?
I don't know. I mean, I
couldn't even tell that. I thought she was Caucasian,
like head to toe, blue. So
yeah,
I mean,
that was an odd scene.
Yeah, and that's the only thing is like, I'm like, oh, is this like bar trying to be like fancy or something? That's the only thing I could think of is like, he's like, oh, we're a respected kind of bar. We got singers and fancy dancers and shit. That's the only thing I could think of what it could mean.
What made me think of when I saw her, now that I'm remembering back, because man, I totally forgot about that, is I thought she reminded me of those weird like things you have at fancy parties. So, for example, right, some fancy parties that billionaires have, and this is very sick sounding too. They'll hire people to just be laid out on the table, and they'll have food on top of them, and they just
Yeah.
lay there for hours and hours on end, just being a piece of art,
Like furniture.
Yeah, like furniture. Yeah, and you eat off of them, which is weird. I thought she gave me those vibes. I thought she was like the weird like person that's there, that's hired, that is almost like enslaved even. And I don't know. That's what I got from that.
Yeah,
I thought she was the weird lay at the table finger food section. I thought that's what she was.
Yeah, but this is like that scene was followed by. Well, before it was a really cool scene between her and Nate Love on like how he loves her kind of thing, and then right after that, where she talks to Rufus, and the show's like Rufus like knew. He goes, I'm not stupid. I know why you're here. You know, so it was like, and it was just that smart. weird thing. I don't know, but that was one thing I really didn't. But the ending, I know, going back to the ending.
Okay, so the ending,
it got me, man. I did not see that coming. I did not see that coming, and it was just so good because it gave a dilemma to Nate Love. Like, do you kill your brother? Your only other family member. Do you kill him?
Wow. And the whole thing, it gave me Dark Knight vibes. You want to know why? Yeah. So look, in the Dark Knight, there's a scene where it explains that pretty much the Joker his whole mission was to make Gotham's White Knight, who was Harvey Dent, look like the bad guy. Like he wanted to turn a good guy into a bad guy. And so in here, we kind of get that same mechanic to where, like what is his damn name? What is his name? Nat Love. No, Nat Love. He was a good boy. His father was a man of God. His parents were brutally murdered. He's so innocent, right? And then even his life's work is more on the innocent side. He was robbing robbers and not doing the worst things. And he was a good guy almost. He being kind of like a Robin Hood
guy. Yeah.
And he didn't even how do you say? And with that being said, Idris Elba or Rufus Buck, he knew that at some point Nat Love was going to approach him and have this conversation. So he even laid it out and he was like, yeah, man, here's this new bit of information. How you going to handle it? You're going to kill me, huh? And act like a buck? Or you're going to act like a love and let me live? But then you're going to be haunted with the idea that you're letting the guy that killed your parents live because only being family related, because that was the thing he was going to weigh out. Like, do I kill my brother or half brother that is my only family left, and I'll look that bad? Like, how bad do you look if you kill your own brother? You look bad. Even if your brother did kill your parents, you don't kill them. I mean, in today's world, would you kill your sibling? I wouldn't kill my sibling. Like, what the even if my sibling killed my parents, I wouldn't kill my sibling. I would just put their ass in jail and then cry a lot. But I don't know, man. It was just so dark of a moment that when he revealed that information and he left it up to Nat, he was like, what you gonna do? And Nat was just conflicting. He was just like, he was crying, and he was
so good,
so emotionally driven, and and he made the decision of, you want to say it? What'd he do?
He wound up shooting him, but the way he shot him wasn't like. It was a little bit of both, actually. Now that I'm trying to I'm like, how, because it was like he was crying and he wasn't looking, and he's kind of like, bam, like not looking, and shot him down in the gut, and then then he shot him again, and then he just unloaded. Once he hit the ground, then he's like, put all the bullets in him, and then it's click, 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 click. I was like, oh damn, okay. So, but yeah, that whole part was just so good because. Like you said, he made him a decision, and even Rufus Buck was like, "You're gonna be the greatest fu to our father." He goes, "You." He goes, "I'm gonna make you be evil. I'm gonna turn you bad. You already robbed the bank, so you already started. And now you're gonna kill your brother. And that was his thing. It was like, he's like, you're gonna be the greatest fu to our dad, because I was like, that's so messed up. It's like, because like I'm gonna ruin his legacy. Whatever legacy he did have is gonna be ruined. Like he's not gonna be known as a good guy. And it was very, 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 very well done at the end. It was so good.
You know what would have been the cherry on top of this movie that would have made this Hall of Fame movie, in my opinion? I think if at the very end, out of nowhere, and it sounds really stupid, by the way, now that I'm thinking about it, but I still think I'm gonna hold my guns on this one. I think if Nat Love out of nowhere turned into an alcoholic at the end, that would have just been like, bruh, you turn into the bad version of your father. Like, man, that would have.
Yeah.
He would have like turned to alcohol for some reason, or like killed him and then like picked up a drink and then just put it down and just like looked at himself like in the mirror or something. That would have did it for me.
Yeah.
I would have been like, damn, not only like did he turn bad, now he's an alcoholic like his father or his old father.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing you never know, because at the end, they showed some graves, and they showed Pickett, and they showed Rufus Buck, and then they showed one of Nate Love, and the sheriff. Bass Reeves was like, he goes, "Oh, are people gonna believe that he's dead?" He's like, "I'm the law. If I say they're dead, they're dead." So I was like, "So is he gonna change? Is he gonna change his name to Nate Buck now?"
Ooh.
So like there was that whole part where I'm like, and then he rides into the sunset with Stagecoach Mary, and you think they're gonna have like a happy life, and then it zooms out, and then you get Trudy Smith, you get Regina King kind of standing there. You don't see her face, but and my girlfriend's like, yeah, she's got all the outfit, the blue outfit that she had on and stuff like that. But I was like, fuck, that was so good. So I'm like, because you didn't see her get shot. Everyone else you saw die. She just got bashed in the face really hard by a shotgun. The butt of a shotgun, and you assume like, oh yeah, she's gonna die. She's dead. But obviously, in a movie, if you don't see somebody get killed, they're not dead. So. Nope. They definitely left it open for a second one, so there's a good chance that Nate becomes Nate Buck and could become an alcoholic. You never know in the second one. He can't live with himself.
Wow, yeah, that'll be interesting. I really hope there's a damn sequel. That'll just tickle my feathers. Like that'll just tickle my pickle. It'll just do such great things for me. I love this movie. The way it was done, very well done.
Yeah. Well, that's what you say. You want to go into our official reviews?
Let's do it. Yeah, let's give our official way we rate this movie. So, over here at the Nerd Huddle, Spoiler Kings, we like to review movies a little bit differently than your typical, 5-star, 1-star, or 1 out of 10. No, we do a little bit different. So, as you see right there, we either rate movies one of 3 options. It's either a watch now, a watch later, or a watch never. A watch now means you have to drop everything that you're doing and prioritize this movie and watch it right away. A watch later means, it's not worth your time right now, but it is still good of a movie that you should watch at some point. Maybe put it on the back burner. And then a watch never means that you should not ever give this movie any time of day and don't waste your money or time. But with that being said, what do you rate this movie?
Oh man! So this one, The Harder They Fall, hands down is a now. Hands down is a now. I mean, if you're a Western fan, you're gonna like it. If you're just like an action fan, you're gonna like it. Good storytelling, you're gonna like it. It's just they did everything, from getting some of the best actors in Hollywood right now, that happen to be black, to tell a story about black cowboys that people probably didn't know about. I mean, yeah, this was an epic story, awesome twist at the end, great action, great storytelling, great acting, love it. It's a 100%. Watch it right now, go watch it. But what about you?
Oh, well said. So, like you, I really think this movie was so well done. The cast was remarkable. Every single one of these people that put together this movie did an amazing job. Story, fucked with my mind so bad and really like got me in my heartstrings. So for that alone, I think this movie is a watch now. This movie is so worth it. It came out on Netflix, but I would watch this movie in the theater. If it would have came out in the theater, I would have put my money and watched it in the theater just because it's so damn good. The imagery, the camera work, the cinematography in general, which is so well done. The music, the soundtrack, some of the songs that they used told more of a story. Even like, man, the music was just so damn good. I mean, I bruh, so good. What do you think about the music? Wasn't that so good, man?
Oh, the music was really good, man. I liked it. See, because I know there's a few big people. CeeLo Green was in it. It says Jay-Z did a song.
Hey, that's what's up.
But yeah, I mean, the soundtrack was pretty epic. It fit it really, really well. You can go check it out. It's on Spotify if you do The Harder They Fall, the motion picture soundtrack.
Hey, I'm going there.
Yeah. It says Seal. I don't know. CeeLo Green, Seal, Jay-Z, Zazie Beetz and Jonathan Majors. Got a song
Snap?
on here.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. I gotta listen to some of these, but King Kong Raiden. That was awesome. You know, it was like, you know, Jay-Z, Jada Kiss, Conway the Machine, Back Row G. Yeah, I mean, it was the music was awesome, and it fit it very perfectly. So,
like a glove. It was so good.
Yeah. It's almost like they had a famous musician producing this movie.
I could swear they could have.
Yeah. But as we finish up, we'll do our Rotten Tomatoes gave it rating thingies. So the tomato meter gave it an 86%, which is certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. And then the audience gave it a 93. So yeah, man. This was really, really good. Here's one right here. Good one says Elba's commanding presence as Rufus Buck is undeniable, but it's Regina King as his cold-blooded sergeant at arms who rocks the badass mantle. Which it's true, she was a badass. He was definitely the brains and she was the bronze, or more the muscle, not the bronze, but yeah, brains and she was the muscle, but he was also like a badass, you know. But she helped him be a badass, you know, in it. Here, this one, videoreviewmaster.com, he gave it a C, which is a bad review. He said the work takes so much from slew of genre's memorable moments to say The Harder They Fall is cliche is putting it kindly. I'm like, it's a Western. Every Western is exactly the same. What are you talking about, man?
What? Cliche? Yeah. What are you talking about, man?
Yeah. You know, and here's another one. You know, The Harder They Fall wobbles between witty homage to ugly overkill, resulting in a movie that looks like it was more fun to make than it was to watch. I have no idea what you're talking about, because that was so fun to watch. I don't know.
Yeah. It was good. How long was this movie? Do you know? Was it also 2 hours, if I'm not mistaken?
2 hours and 17 minutes. So
that's right. Okay. It didn't feel long. Not at all. It felt just right.
It didn't. Yeah. I liked it. When people are like, it was cliche, it's a Western. What do you think is going to happen? You know, you're going to have your quick draws, and you're always going to have that. You're going to have your dirty people that shoot people in the back, and you're going to have your people who want to prove that they're the fastest around, you know, and you're always going to have your bad guy that's bad for a reason. You're always going to have your good guy that's good for a reason. That's every freaking Western. I mean, that's most movies in general, but Westerns are going to have those kind of tropes. That's what makes it a Western, you know.
Yeah.
And this one does it well, and they do it better, in my opinion.
They executed, you're right. They executed all the cliches very well. I didn't even know they were cliches until, if you say it right now, I guess you could call them cliche moments or whatever. But like, it was done so well, and the movie flowed. So what does it matter? It's a fucking Western. Exactly what you said.
It was it was good. The damsel in distress. The good guy has to go save the damsel. I mean, it's nothing new. I mean, a lot of movies aren't nothing new, but it was done well. You know, it was done well. I like that, like that kind of thing where like oh, it didn't do anything new. I hate it. And then you have like movie like Eternals that we just reviewed. Eternals, like it was too weird and too different. I don't like it. It was like, okay, calm down there, critics.
For real.
Yeah. But yeah, man, we both loved it. I probably am gonna watch it again sometime this week. It's on Netflix, so might as well. So
yeah. Oh, that's fair.
Super fun movie. But yeah, man, we've been going on this extra long. So if you're watching live, appreciate it. If not, you're gonna catch this in 2 different videos. Anything else before we finish our first double feature?
No. Thank you for great conversation. Watching 2 really good movies, in our opinion, at least. Would I watch this movie again? Yes, I would. I am gonna watch it. Actually, I really plan to watch it. Like, I'm probably gonna watch it tomorrow, just because I want to catch some more stuff in there. And really, the fact that you reminded me that these are real characters and they brought them all together kind of reminds me of what they did with Owen Wilson and Jackie Chan in that movie, where they brought a bunch of real characters that existed and put them in a Shanghai Nights. Yeah, they used real characters. But they did it in a funny way. They changed names up. So, for example, they had, instead of John Wayne, Jackie Chan's character was Chan Wang or something like that. Like, yeah,
I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
Oh, I think you should. Yeah. I think it's a little on the sillier side, but I really enjoyed it. Surprisingly, came on TBS one time, so I saw like the real edited version, but it was, even for being the edited version, it was still pretty good. But yeah, they use Charlie Chaplin. He's in there. Yeah, a lot of characters that just like in this movie, a lot of characters that like actually existed in real life. Put them together in a crazy story and then made this crazy. It works. So I love that this movie, The Harder They Fall, they did the same thing, and they killed it with the whole story. So hell yeah,
yeah, they nailed it, man. But yeah, man. Cool. Yeah, appreciate everyone that came in. Nah, we didn't have too many people in comments, which it is what it is, man. It's a Monday night where the Bears played, so a lot of our friends are watching the Bears instead of watching us, which is all right. I get it.
Oh, good. Catch us on the fly.
Catch us on the replay. So if you're watching on the replay, throw it in the comments. Let us know what you thought about the movie. We haven't done a giveaway in a while. We're gonna do another giveaway next week, Monday, for whatever movie review then. So look out for the giveaway video in the next day or so. And yeah, man, we appreciate all the subs. We're at 43, man. I want to get to 50 before the end of the month. Let's make it happen. 7 more subs, get to 50. Let's do this. So yeah. Woo. But cool, man. Yeah. Anything else? I don't know what movie we're doing next week. I gotta look at it, but we'll figure it out.
No idea, but we're gonna have a good time anyways. Catch us next week, Monday, at 8 or 8:30. Just come out at 8. We'll be here.
Yeah, around there.
And
well, better yet, make sure you sub and like the video, but make sure you hit that sub and let us know, so you know when we go live. But cool. All right, man. Let's get out of here. It's late for us.
Hell yeah.
Cool. Thank you, everyone. See you guys later.
Deuces. Bye.